This week on the Steam Machine podcast, Witch in the Sky needs some saving. Cue the music. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Steam Machine podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me this week is one half of the Destructo Brad.
Huh? You're talking to me? Hey, it's Willie. How you doing?
To you. I'm doing all right, my good sir. It's a bit of war zone outside here with all the fireworks.
If it still sounds like we're recording on the 4th of July on my end, it's because we're recording on the 4th of July, and they haven't stopped blowing up the sky, and it's almost midnight here. We just couldn't put off recording any longer.
Yeah, they...
I live in the most redneck part of the county, basically, so...
I would say that I live in the most redneck part of this area of Florida I'm in, but that's a fucking competition, son.
Yeah.
A lot of rednecks around where I'm at. A lot of them. How you been, man? What you been playing? How you been doing? What you up to?
Oh, so that job that's been taking up a lot of my time will not be taking up any of my time going forward.
I know how that goes, my good sir.
Yeah, I'm not going to dwell on it too much because, frankly, it was good experience to get an interview and get a couple weeks in and get the taste for, being back on my feet. So, I'll just get back at it again soon and it'll all be cool.
Me and Jeff can sympathize with that kind of job. Is very much like,
yeah.
Do what you got to do to make the money. And it's really a thankless job, though. So, yeah.
And that's basically what it just boiled down to. I had to miss a couple days because I overexerted myself in the heat and made myself kind of sick. And I didn't like their approach to how they reacted to me not being able to make it in. And basically, we didn't come to an agreement as to scheduling further hours.
Yeah. Been there. Been there. Done that. Told the boss to go fuck themselves. I know how it goes. You were probably nicer about it than me.
I didn't use such language. I basically, they were like, we're not going to put you on the schedule. Please come in and talk to us. And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to. And they're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's like fucking heading into work. I'm almost there. I've been driving for 45 minutes. My phone rings. Hello? Are you at work yet? I mean, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Don't clock in. You've been terminated. Word? For real? Yep. All right, man. You have a good day. Like, that's all I said to my last boss. Like, that's all I said. I was like, all right, whatever. Fine by me. But no, the situation with you is very reminiscent of what happened with me at Walmart. And
yeah, I mean, just sometimes the part of your brain that cares doesn't fire, I guess. And it did while I was on the job. I did care about it, but I can't say I'm, like, upset. It's not like I won't go back and shop at the same place,
Yeah. The way that I look at retail... And it's probably bad that I do this.
It's very mercenary. I completely get if that's what you're about to say.
Oh, I'm very much like, I can go find another one of these motherfucking jobs. Like, yeah, don't talk to me like you're above me, motherfucker, because I will quickly tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for new management, I probably would have tried to stick it out longer, but
Yeah. Oh, I remember you mentioning that new management was rubbing you the wrong way anyway.
Well, the thing is, I can still go and get a job in accounting or data entry or, fields that I can work indoors and get paid more. So, I basically took the first people that, wanted to shake my hand. So,
yeah, I mean, I feel you on that, dude, because I mean, I could go find a labor job. You know what I mean? I don't want to fucking do that anymore. Right. I don't want to work out in this Florida heat. I don't want to hurt my back anymore at work. Like, no. My only problem is I'm good with computers, but I have no paperwork that proves that. So
yeah,
that's always the bummer. But I do what I can.
Yep.
That being said, check out my OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's too entrepreneurial for us.
Check
out our Patreon.
I've thought about it. You can go check out the Patreon. That does exist. I don't have an OnlyFans yet, but I've been tempted. I wanted to do erotic writing on there, actually. Not even pictures, but I don't know if that's allowed. I think you have to.
I don't think they limit what you can sell on there. But also, as I understand, that market is Well, one, you more do self-publish ebook on Amazon, and two, I think that is getting flooded by AI right now. Would be my guess. And
fucking
yeah,
AI.
It's not
everything.
it's not a very discriminating market in a lot of senses.
No, exactly. It's not hard.
Which is why it would have been cool to get there before the AI.
These fuckers. Now it's like Fabio's Fuck Sessions, Volume 1. Anyways, what else have you been up to, man?
Let's see. Oh, man. You know that virtual or visual pinball program I use to play all my pinball games? On my computer?
Yes, the one you said you had an issue with the other day, correct?
Yeah, so I downloaded the WWF King of the Ring WWF... Shit, I can't remember if it was Royal Rumble or King of the Ring. It was one of the 1994 Data East pinball games. And it had been updated to use Visual Pinball 10.8, and I was still on 10.7. So I tried to download 10.8 over top of my install to update it and play with that. And it ended up messing up my install so bad that I just erased everything except my tables folder, my ROMs folder, and my user info folder, and reinstalled Visual Pinball. And unfortunately, in doing so, it factory reset all of my tables, so now all my high scores are gone.
Well, hey, look at this as Virtual Pinball 2.
Yeah, so now I'm viewing it as kind of a grand quest to see if I can, go back in and beat the default grand champion score on all those tables and,
There you go.
reestablish. So far I'm at 0, but it's because I keep stubbornly doing the same couple tables instead of going to one that I think would be easier. Because I beat the Star Trek score on accident a couple times, so I could probably do that one. But no, I really want to do Whitewater or Funhouse.
I don't know why it made me think of it. I do, because it's arcade games, but that reminded me of the episode of Seinfeld when they go in the old pizza place that they hadn't been to in forever, and the Frogger machine's still there, and George goes over to see if he still has the number 1 score, and he had been beaten, and he can't take that, so he starts playing Frogger. And then they're like shutting the business down, so George buys the Frogger machine from him, but he has to keep it turned on or else the score that he's gaining will go away, and he's trying to do all this shit. Spoiler, at the end, it ends up getting hit by a semi while they're trying to move it across the street.
That sounds like the most perfect possible ending.
Dude,
yeah.
The scene of him navigating traffic with the thing of Frogger, and they do it from above, so it looks like, it's fucking hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
That's a solid joke. That's a solid visual gag. Got to give him credit for that.
It's one of those shows that I think that we may be the last generation that can appreciate it. Like, I feel like people younger than us aren't going to get Seinfeld anymore.
I didn't really get Seinfeld when it was coming on, to be honest, so...
Oh, I've always thought that show was hilarious. Kramer's the man. Yeah. I love Kramer.
I just never got it. It didn't appeal to me.
I feel you. I'm that way with a lot of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is like the same kind of show.
That's the funny thing, because Sunny clicks with me and Seinfeld never did, but there's a similar thing to them. It's just, I think when I was a kid, I didn't get that Seinfeld was like all bad guys. I didn't get that I was supposed to be hating them and making fun of them. Whereas with Always Sunny, I'd watched that after watching The League, which was the first like sitcom where I'm like, oh, these people suck, and I love it when bad things happen to them.
Fucking Taco.
Yeah, exactly. Hell, Taco might be one of the better people in that league, which says something.
Was it Jean Lajoie?
Yeah.
Isn't that his name? Yeah, I had a friend of mine who was a real big fan of him, so I've definitely seen some of The League.
Yeah, because that guy had like a YouTube comedy presence or something before he was on that show, I think.
Yeah, and he was pretty funny.
So I understand. I really haven't seen anything but the show, but I do know he has his separate fan base, so that's cool.
Hell yeah, man.
Let's see. What have I got in
I know you've been
terms?
Doing some DOOMin.
Yeah, I'm always doing some DOOMin, but there's one I've been playing a little bit recently that I'm looking forward to getting deeper into it. I mentioned a while back one that was like The Long Trek Home or something like that, which was like playing backwards through the ruined levels of Doom 2. So I kind of like these levels that are like based on the original levels, but that add a twist. And this one I've been playing now is a community project called Amalgam, which is basically the first level is a level that is inspired by the architecture of E1M1 from Doom 1 and Map-O1 from Doom 2. So it's got like rooms and textures and stuff you recognize from each, but it's a bigger thing that has like both of them. Then the second level is E1M2 and Map-O2 and so forth. And so they have to kind of merge the influences and architectural styles and make the references to the rooms. And so it's like you're playing through this level and you're like, oh, this is like the room with the zigzag, the zigzag lava pit, or like, oh, that means that thing over there, if I walk over it, that's how I get to the rocket launcher sequence. But the rest of the levels are completely new and like they're arranged in different ways, and like there's a bigger enemy count while not being overwhelming. It's just a lot of fun. Like the levels are a lot more detailed and it's really cool.
It sounds like a good time to me. But I'm going to assume that it's super fast paced, right?
It's actually, I would say it's really I would say it's only a little faster than like Doom 1 and 2 are. Like, it is not like insane. It's not insane like a lot of user-made levels. The levels are a little denser with monsters, but it, like, one of the rules that they made was that they could only use a monster or a weapon if it was present in one of the two levels that level's based on. So, like, for instance, E1M1 Map 01 doesn't have chain gunners or, you know, revenants or anything like that in it. So the only enemies on that level are imps, pistol guys, and shotgun guys. But that also means that when you get to like level 6, by that point, Doom 2 has introduced a bunch of monsters, so you have a lot of Doom 1 architecture, but with monsters you wouldn't have seen yet in the game. You know?
So you're having to deal with Doom more. 1. I just know, like, some of the WADs that I've seen people playing on YouTube, just, I don't know if it's because they're on YouTube and that's like they're trying to play the most ridiculous ones that are out there, but I've seen some that are super fast paced and there's so many demons and I'm just like, I don't think I can handle that.
No, I mean, especially when people are posting to YouTubes, a lot of people play what they call slaughter maps, which are kind of designed to show off really big combat scenarios that are very choreographed. Like, where it's less about killing monsters and more spacing your way around monsters and cutting yourself a hole to make it through their path.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's a very different skill set to the usual run-and-gun Doom, and Amalgam has mostly been run-and-gun Doom so far, like the classics.
You know, whenever I'm going to nut, that's what I like to yell. I'm going to Amalgam!
Amalgam! But yeah, it's
the brother of Ra's al Ghul. Amalgam.
Amalgam. That's how brother names work. Different first names and last names.
Yeah, they're not blood brothers, but they're brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. But so the best part to me though is definitely that it didn't come into the play until late in the development too, because I looked into the development and it was very troubled. But eventually they got a full soundtrack of songs that are again mix-ups of the original tracks of the two levels, and it is crazy the way they make them work together without it just being like the melody of one over the beat of the other or whatever. Like, there's really creative ways that they combine them to create entirely new things. And that's the same philosophy that goes into the level design, too.
Well, that sounds pretty cool. And the name's fitting.
Yep, it's because it's an amalgam of Doom, so it's Amalgam. It's available if you use a Boom-compatible source port or higher, which everyone does unless you're playing vanilla, chocolate, or crispy. But also, you can get it on the official Doom 1 plus Doom 2. If you just search for Amalgam, you'll find one called Amalgam Official, and that is just the official upload. So you can play it without leaving the Steam Doom 1 and Doom 2 game.
Hell yeah. I really like that they added that functionality to it.
Yeah, the mod browser has been really good. I mean, and the fact that they added the ability for Doom 1 plus 2 to play Boom and MBF and, you know, the new standard stuff is like really cool, because that means I don't have to recommend a specific port for everything. It'll either run in Doom 1 plus 2 or you need GZ Doom. There's no other things now.
Yeah, GZ Doom's the only one that I'm aware of, because I think you sent me a Doom to try, or I was playing Doom and you were like, play it in GZ Doom. I think it was because I could aim up and down.
Yeah, it was a lot easier. The default configuration lets you mouse look up and down, and you can even configure buttons for jumping and crouching if you're so inclined.
Hell yeah.
So you could consider it cheating a little bit, but if you're much more used to modern games, it's an easy way to kind of find a midpoint.
That's what's up.
Plus, it has a lot of extensions that let people add scripting to their levels, so GZ Doom levels tend to do a lot of stuff that classic Doom couldn't do, to the point where, like, there are a lot of games right now being made on a GZ Doom engine that are total conversions that don't even look at all like Doom. But I think we've discussed that in the show before.
Is that one that's My House or whatever? Is that a GZ Doom one?
My House is GZ Doom, yes.
I figured.
Because it requires some weird scripting in it.
Yeah, there's a lot weird stuff going on in that, yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of cool use of stuff like silent portals and stuff, but a lot of the trickery it does is very advanced scripting to make it look like regular Doom is falling apart.
I gotcha.
Let's see. Do I have anything else gaming or non? Because of the progress of the show, I finished Yakuza 5.
Yeah! What'd you think of the ending?
Complicated.
Very, right?
Like, that is a game whose ending I almost think only makes sense because of the motivation of the main villain ends up being so just nihilistic. Because otherwise, all the plot threads would not carry together at all.
Yeah. I'm going to throw up a little spoiler warning. Mikolov, skip ahead.
Oh yeah, he's still in part 3 or 4, I think.
3, 2, 1. Willie, how many fucking Yakuza games are we going to play that end with Kiryu almost dying?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty sure 6 will too.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm getting at. Is like I feel like that's probably the ending of 6 as well. So it's like, bruh, how many times is that man gonna almost die?
I mean, he's gonna keep doing that until he doesn't almost.
And the thing is, he beats so much ass, and someone always just shanks him.
Yeah, he always gets laid down by a cheap shot.
And it's like fucking hell, man. And at least in 5, it was like he had the cheap shot, and then he was still fighting on, but like his injuries, he was just succumbing to his injuries. Like,
yeah.
In the middle of a snowy street. That had to suck. He's laying there, no shirt.
That's all I could think, too, is that physically has to be so horrible.
Although his muscles...
in a way that I didn't think about all the horrible punching, you know?
In a way, maybe it felt good on his sore muscles to lay down on the ice, but like, he laid there a while.
Swelling down.
Like, I feel like there would have been some burn coming in.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad you got around to finishing that, because it was a good game.
Yeah. End of spoilers for Yakuza 5. But yeah, so I liked it. I don't know about how I would rate it on the scale of the series, because, man, I feel like even that might be topics for the next episode, you know?
Yeah, I can tell you that 6 already has its claws in me deep.
You have mentioned this, and that's why I wanted to book it through this game and 5 so I could, catch up. But I am basically, the last 2 days I've been hitting the game so hard that I started 6 and then found a save point and haven't got into it yet. So we'll see.
Yeah. At least it wasn't hard to book it through Forward to the Sky, as we'll touch on it a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, man. Anything else before I get into what I've been dealing around with?
Nope.
No. So your boy's been playing a little Counter-Strike 2.
I saw.
I'm still really rusty at it because I haven't played it like a lot in years, but I figured I'd give it a shot. I would like to get the Prime upgrade, which I think is $14.99, so I can start getting experience levels and stuff like that, because that always feels good to watch numbers go up. And it's a one-time purchase. It's not a monthly subscription or anything. It's a one-time, you get it, and then you have Prime access on your account forever, unless you get banned for being stupid.
Well, that's always a risk you take by being stupid.
Fair enough. But yeah, I've been having a good time doing that. I had a lady friend over the other day, and she looks at me and she was like, wow, nice computer. Do you have Counter-Strike? I was like, I do. Would you like to play it? And she's like, I would. And I was like, my goodness, let's do it.
Heck yeah, that sounds fun. Bonding over the old AWP or whatever gun you use in Counter-Strike.
So I've been tooling around with that. I did finally look into modding WWE 2K25. So
yeah, seems like it'd be about time.
All my custom people now have their own entrance music. I'm going to stream it in the Discord sometime, because I think it would be fun for the wrestling fans, even if it's just me and Kana hanging out while I play some WWE.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've really been enjoying putting everybody's entrances and stuff together. And there's a program I found called Cake View and Cake Hook. Now, these are used to add mods into the game. Like if you wanted to mod in a character who isn't in the game, like Goldberg or Brock or somebody like that, you can mod them in. But there are other mods too, like modding in chairs that are wrapped in barbed wire and things like that, which I haven't tried that yet. What I did though is I added a blood mod that just makes blood more so, because sometimes you'll bust somebody open and they'll have like a little splash of it on their face and that's it, right? And you beat them up more and a little blood might show up on their chest. Now with this mod, the more you beat on them,
Dicky.
It looks not quite that bad, not quite that much gore, but it's quite a bit more. Like it'll run down their chest and stuff, cool. And their face will be a crimson mask.
The Buta scale.
By God, he's broken in half. Somebody stop the damn match. But yeah, so that's been a good time. I installed BeamNG.drive again. I always do this. I see someone in a clip do some cool shit in BeamNG, so I install it and I play a couple races, and I'm like, I don't know how to do any of the cool shit, so I just get bored because there's no career mode to it yet or anything.
I thought the point of BeamNG was really more to engineer ridiculous crashes than anything else.
I mean, I've had plenty of ridiculous crashes, man. I get my burnout fix playing that game for sure.
I mean to like set up the perfect crash, get the vehicles all together, get your gravity all set up, really just let the cars have fun.
Yeah, I haven't delved that deep into it yet. But I have been looking through other people's creations. Like I was doing that earlier today and grabbing some. Some of them are interesting. Some of them are cool. Some of them are interesting.
I mean, I bet it's pretty cool for like big, mechanically engineered oriented people, because like the game itself, I don't think comes with any real models or whatever, but I'm sure you can get online and download a Dodge Dakota to smash.
Oh, yeah. Because I've seen videos of people trying all different kinds of real cars and seeing how they hold up
I
in
wouldn't be
different crash
surprised if there's a lot
scenarios.
of video of people like reenacting the Robin Reliant scenes from Top Gear, where they take that 3-wheel car and turn it over every which way.
It just there's a lot of cool different things that you can do. I just haven't delved that far into it. Let's see. Dabbled in a little Arma 3. That game
Man,
still
you're getting
as
into the
hard as
serious
ever.
guns lately, huh?
I've been in a first person shooter mood. Yeah. I don't know what it's been.
Yeah, but we're talking about ones with guns that have real names, not like BFG 9000 first-person shooters.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've been more looking for more of a not simulation, but yeah, more of a realistic style of shooting. Like, as much as I love Borderlands, enemies being bullet sponges isn't always what I'm looking for. Sometimes I want 2 accurate shots to put down a motherfucker. But I also like when I take stupid shots because I'm being dumb and I go down for it, you know? So, like, I like it to be balanced.
Kind of like what they sold Rainbow Six like as back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Loved those back in the old school days, dude. Rainbow Six. My buddies used to play Siege a lot. I think that's still around.
The series is, yeah. I'm pretty sure I still hear that title from now on.
Yeah, Rainbow Six
Yeah.
Siege. I think they just did some big update to it. I don't know how people feel about it, though. Loaded into Elden Ring. No longer banned on there. That's cool.
Yo, yeah, you mentioned that, and I didn't. Sorry, you mentioned it in the group chat, and I didn't actually end up talking about it any. But I'm excited. I'm excited. How long do you think it'll be before you forget which character you shouldn't log in with?
I'm just not gonna run cheats. It'll be all right. I think. I don't know. I loaded into the game earlier, and I turned all the graphics up, and I turned on ray tracing, and because I hadn't loaded it up on my new computer yet at all.
Oh.
So I loaded in, and I was in the round table area after a certain point in the game. That's all I'll say. And I ran around for a little bit, swung my weapon, game froze and crashed. So I don't know.
Ray tracing is the future.
I'm telling you, man. My 4090 is more than powerful enough to run ray tracing because it runs games with ray tracing in it really well when the ray tracing is implemented really well. Other than that, it's causing some serious issues in some other games.
Yeah.
But the game that I've been dedicating the most time to recently. Oh, I do want to give a quick shout out to Survival Fountain of Youth. I've been delving in that a little bit. Jeff, I really think you would like that game a lot.
What is Survival Fountain of Youth?
So Survival Fountain of Youth is very much like one of those games like Ark or Stranded Deep or those types of games where it's like a survival crafting type game. But you were on one of Ponce de Leon's ships.
Oh, okay. So the Fountain of Youth was literal.
So
okay, cool.
you are playing through, like, it's historical. So, like, you're playing through as part of the crew that was looking for the Fountain of Youth, and you're finding these scraps
man, you have
of paper.
to survive. You have to survive the most dangerous land of all, Florida.
Florida. That's one of the reasons I bought it. I was like, oh, man. Right after my St. Augustine trip, I came home, and that game was on sale, and I was like, oh, son of a bitch.
Oh, that is really nice time if they got you thinking about local history, just the Spanish exploration and all that.
Yeah, which is there's a lot of in St. Augustine. You walk around, there's a lot of Spanish architecture and stuff from back in the day. It was really cool. It's a fucking cool place. But yeah, so playing through that, you find the notes of Ponce de Leon. Your goal is to survive and find the Fountain of Youth, and then I think get out of there alive or whatever. It's been a fun romp so far. Been enjoying that. Of course, the Hunter, Call of the Wild, put in a lot of time into that. Been enjoying the Hunter. Not too much to say about that though. We'd really like to do an episode on it.
Yeah. Also, I mean, even if we're not doing an episode right away. I would like at some point us to do like a call and like you show me the ropes of that game because I feel a little bit more intimidated by that than like I needed to be jumped into Ultimate Fishing Simulator too. So I feel like
Oh, dude,
it would
anytime.
help to have someone show me the basics of hunting video game because I've only played one once ever and I think it was like a really easy mode hunting game.
Yeah, no problem at all, dude. I was trying to convince Jeff to get it on PC because I'm like, dude, it's $4 right now. I was like, Jeff, goddamn it, get
You know
it on
how
PC.
Jeff is.
Jeff's like, but I have it on PS4 and I got it for free. I'm like, but we could play together if you get it on PC. He's like, so you want me to buy it again just so we can play together? And I'm like, God damn it,
Yes, that's
Jeff,
what
yes.
I've said to you.
Yes, I do. You son of a bitch. I would like to spend time with my friend playing games. Yes, that's what I'm saying. But
Fucking duck.
that
He's
fucking
ducking
duck.
us again, dude.
He's being a duck. Quack,
He's
quack, sir.
ducking us.
But yeah, anytime you want to play that, dude, just let me know. I'm always down to pop into that and play some hunting.
I have installed it. It's a huge install, so, you know, that's one of the other reasons I
big
want to
boy.
bring it up is because if I'm not going to be playing it, I want that disk space back, you know?
Yeah, and one of the reasons it's a big install is because the game comes loaded with all of the DLC, because when you play online, you can play any of it. Buying the DLC
isn't
just
that what they
unlocks
did
it
with-
for single play.
Isn't that what they did with the fishing one, too? Or is
Mm-hmm.
it the fishing you have to have someone in your party has to have the DLC, maybe?
One or the other. Either way, I have all the DLC.
I think somebody in your party has the DLC, I think, was Ultimate Fishing. And then I think the Call of the Wild was just the angler was you could fish wherever online.
No, I feel like Ultimate Fishing Sim because I feel like I bought you Japan so you could come fish with us in Ultimate Fishing.
You did. You're right.
That was those
okay.
koi.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm telling fish tales.
Those koi. It kept getting bigger.
That was so funny watching you guys in the endless koi battle, constantly finding bigger koi than the last one. Because I was like, a koi is a goldfish, right? How big can that little carp get? I've seen them in tanks.
And then
it turns out the answer is incredible.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, this one's 145 pounds. But yeah. And again, I want to say this. I know Adam said that the hunter was not for him. It is very much you move slow because you're creeping because you don't want to make too much noise. It's a simulation game, but with some buddies, I think, because the animals aren't going to hear us chatting on Discord. You know what I mean? We can still talk and bullshit while we're just kind of meandering, looking for some shit to hunt. I think it'd be a good time.
It would be hilarious if it had freaking phasmophobia voice commands. It was like, oh, the deer heard you say the word spooky.
And all of a sudden you just hear, and there's a fucking deer behind you. I did get
the buck's got an axe. The buck's got an axe.
Fun quick story, and then I'll move on to the main event of what I've been playing for the past few days religiously. I'm playing the hunter. I'm roaming through this. I don't remember which area it was in, but it's whichever one has water buffalo. Might have been Africa. So I see a buffalo, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah. So I got my rifle set up. I think it's a 30-30. No. Whatever it is, was not powerful enough. Shot the water buffalo right between the eyes, and apparently did not hit its brain because that motherfucker turned and started running away. So I'm like, okay, shit. So I'm trying to shoot. So I fire a couple more bullets, miss. I hit one final bullet in its ass, and I'm reloading, and it turns around and charges at me.
Oh, no.
And gores me. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I take damage. So I whipped out my shotgun. It's running at me again. I put 2 slugs into it. It drops dead. I go over to claim it, and as I look down to claim it, bam, I get hit from the side. It's a female water buffalo. It's its mate. So I had to put her down with the shotgun. Bro, it was just like a happenstance of things that just went wrong, right? And there's one that's somewhere in India where it's like, oh yeah, by the way, if you go too far north, just be warned, there are tigers.
Damn.
So you can hunt tigers, but they can also, I'm assuming, hunt you. I know there's lions in the Africa level, which I steered clear of them.
I'm assuming tigers is worse.
Here's what I always tell my mom. Like, you know how quiet the cat can move? I was like, big cats are also that quiet, and they can eat you. And that's terrifying. Like, you might not know that there's a jaguar in the tree above you until that motherfucker's on you. Like, it's just scary shit, man. Scary shit.
Yeah.
But for the past 3 days, my good sir, I have been addicted to a little game called Mad Games Tycoon 2.
Oh, that is so right. We've even talked about it a lot in the group chat. Yeah, let's hear all about it. It feels like it's one of those game development tycoon type games, like Game Dev Tycoon.
So I Googled games that are like Game Dev Tycoon, right? Because I wanted to see what else was in the genre that were like that. And I think there was one for sale on Steam called Game Dev Story, which I think might be the OG. But I was looking at that and I was like, okay, this looks cool. But I Googled, what are other games like that? And I see this Mad Games Tycoon 2 recommended in a Reddit thread, and then like 60 comments of people being like, yeah, that game fucking rocks. But they were talking about the first Mad Games Tycoon. And then some of the comments were like, the second one's even better. So I go on Steam and I look, and it was on sale. So I check it out. So basically, you're a dude, and first thing you have to do is sell your car so you can start your journey into a game dev. And when I tell you that like Game Dev Tycoon prepared me for this game, but also this game is far fucking more in depth, bruh. So you start your development, you hire people, you can build new offices based on what you need, and you can build them to your specificity. So like if you want the room to be 9x9, you can make it 9x9. If you want it to be 16x16, like, you can set the size for everything, as long as you have the building space. So I've got rooms set up for game development, QA. I've got a graphics studio that helps better graphics. I've got a motion capture studio now. I have an audio lab. Got my customer support stuff. But like, it gets down to the granular stuff where like, even like, you can take games that you released 20 years ago and release them as freeware. You can bundle old games together and release them. You can release Game of the Year editions of games. There's all kinds of shit that you can do, right?
Yeah, I saw like once you made a console, you released a pro version of it later.
Yeah. So I have my I just, this is all the rest I'll say about it. The rest of it I'll probably talk about in either coming weeks or we'll do an episode about it eventually. But I have a financial statement from my year 2017 in the game. For expenses, $54,000 in building costs, $900,000 in items, $15 million development, $15 million research, $18 million in employees. So I'm keeping the, I pay my employees well. $8 million in marketing, $110 million production costs, $156 million server costs because I run 3 MMOs at the moment. $58 million console development, $3.4 billion console production, and then
that's your actual materials and such.
Yeah, and then $50 million in funding, which is me funding people to make games for my console. Because now that I have the money that I do, whenever I make a new console, I just put $1 billion in for people to pull from to make their games, so my console has more games on it. But sir, my income, my game revenue, so just from my games, I made $870 million. Subscriptions, so my MMOs and my Game Pass, $309 million. No, I'm sorry, that was just subscriptions. My Game Pass, I made $434 million. But here's the big one. Game consoles. Between my 2 consoles and my handheld, I made $7.199 billion. And if you take away all the expenses and shit, my profit for the year 2017 in the game was $5,007,248,370. And that was a good year. I even did something for you. I made Mood, and then I made Mood 2, and then I waited till the year 2000, and then I made Mood 3, and then I waited till the year 2016, and then I made Mood 2016.
Yeah, you showed me the screenshot. I'm like, wow, you actually waited till 2016 and then made Mood 2016, and it made me smile. I'm like, man, he really, really, paid that joke off.
Yeah, for sure. And then we had a good time, from the screenshots. I like to name my games silly things, like instead of Like a Dragon, I made Among the Worms.
Yeah.
WYRMS.
Yeah.
And like Dragon Quest, I made Wyvern Quest. And then me, you, and Nate spent, 20 minutes last night in our group chat just making synonym and antonym game names and then trying to guess what each. Oh, it was great. It was a good time.
That was a lot of fun, yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a fucking blast with this game, man. And there's just so much to it. And there are like stuff that you can do in it that I don't use because I'm already rolling in dough. So like you can make arcade machines.
Huh.
So I made Combat of Mortals. And the first one made me a little bit of money. The second one, I lost $23 million when it all was said and done. So I don't know if I'll do another arcade game.
Wow, spoken like a real company.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's making me a capitalist and I fucking hate it. But I always make sure that
We're
my
moving
games
out of the arcade games and into pachinko.
I will say, though, I will not release a game if it's buggy. So, like, you can... continue development after a game is done, and then I just make all of my QA go into bug fixing, and then once all the bugs are fixed, it'll ask you again, now do you want to release it? I'm like, yes I do. I don't want to release buggy messes, so all of my games come out with no bugs.
Patches?
Fuck a day one patch. All of my patches that come out, because I do put out free updates for my games that add everything, like new graphics, new places to explore, all this kind of stuff. I'm going the Sean Murray approach.
Okay, Sean Murray.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going the Hello Games approach.
I said that at the exact moment I heard him say it on my screen too. I was like, okay, Sean Murray, as he says the word Sean Murray. I know because of internet delays and all that, it won't sound like it on your end, but in my ears and mouth, same moment like a chorus.
But yeah, I got it 3 days ago. I've put 29.3 hours in it, and I have 43 out of 73 achievements.
Nice.
I've just really been enjoying this game. I have some achievements that are stupid easy to unlock that I just haven't. Like, create a skill game with a rating of at least 70. Create a strategy game with a rating of at least 70. I just haven't made those kinds of games. I've been pumping out RPGs and action games. Made 2 wrestling games that just did all right. I made an action RPG wrestling game that changed the world. Like, remember that thing I sent you when I did Doom 2016 and it said you have set a trend with demons and first-person shooting? I got a thing that said you had set a trend with RPG and wrestling.
If you remember, the you set a trend with demons thing is what set us all just making up names, because when you said that, I made a couple of riffs on other shooter games with demon characters in it. Then you sent a bunch of other ones, and then Nate got into it too, and then next thing you know, that was a lot of fun.
I was really proud of Pope to Heretic.
That was good, yeah.
Like,
because that one took me a minute. Like when you were going on the list, the only reason I picked up that was because it was right after that was Pope 2, and I'm like, okay, there was a Heretic 2. Yeah, that'll be it.
And I think I did.
I actually think one of the difficulty settings on Hexen is Pope, if you play as the Cleric class and use the highest difficulty.
That's tremendous. And then there was Crimson Coagulation, which is a great death metal band name.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, man. So, Willie, we played a game. Fair warning, ladies and gentlemen, it's probably going to be a shorter episode because this was a very, very shorter game. This game has no obligatory booty of bullshit. I know you have some information pulled up, but I would like to read this Steam page just to give people kind of an idea. Give us the Steam. And if you're interested in this game when we're done talking about it, it's 79 cents right now on the Steam summer sale. So just throwing that out there. So, Forward to the Sky, reveal the story of the Sky Tower. Forward to the Sky is a third-person action-adventure game in the Sky Tower ruin. You are going to collect all the crystal pieces to connect to the story, and everything will be revealed once the princess reaches the top level. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Let me read the little story overview, too, because it's less than a paragraph. Once upon a time, there was a great tower in the sky. People were mining crystal with delight during prosperous days, until that disaster happened. Time passed. The history had been forgotten. Now, it emerged from the clouds again. The Sky Tower.
So as you might have guessed from the writing there, this game is not made in English as a first language, was translated. One thing I thought was interesting, though, is the game is voiced entirely in English.
Yeah.
So the development team seems to be based in Taiwan. Or when I say development team, I think it is essentially... There's one main dude, a couple people that work with him directly, and then I think he... contracted a few elements to be done by a few different people. And they might be actual friends and not necessarily contractors. But then, the voice team and translation, I think he got, that's where the money went in this game. Because it was a Steam Greenlight game, actually.
Oh, okay.
It was Indiegogo to Steam Greenlight.
I wonder if it was early in the Greenlight era.
I don't know. I know it came close to missing because they didn't really do a good job of marketing it. And so apparently what the guy did was kind of pivot because he was trying to point towards American audiences. And then he found out that when he asked Chinese people about it, they were interested in games made in China and Taiwan with Chinese mythology and Japanese influences. So that ended up being the main audience that ended up financing the game. Because, I don't think it was a tremendously expensive game. I think it ended up being $15,000 or $20,000 to make the whole thing. And if I had to guess, I would say the vast majority of that money went into hiring a translator and hiring voice talent.
And surely this game has made its money back at this point if it only cost about that much.
Yeah, because the list price is $7.99, and I'm sure it's sold a few copies. Not enough that I've seen people talk about it a lot, but it has... So, enough that there's our Steam reviews. It's not like it's a non-entity.
There's an indie dev that they have on Dropped Frames a lot. His name's Rami. Rami
Ishmael?
Yes.
really?
Yeah, the guy that made Nuclear Throne. Yeah. He's the man. He's funny as hell.
That dude is awesome. Yeah, I've seen it. I haven't talked to him or anything, but I've seen his social media presence. The guy is both really funny and has a very good head on his shoulders in many regards.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite guests on Drop Frames, and he shows up relatively often. And he said that if you want to get a good just guesstimate on how many games have sold on Steam, take the amount of people who have reviewed it and multiply that by 40. Because 1 in 40 people will actually leave a review for a game.
Huh.
So if you were to this game has 1,826 reviews. So it's made at least, so we'll say.
Yeah, it's made its money back.
It's made its money back.
Because that would be about 1,826, about 2,000 times 4, about $80,000. So yeah, it probably paid for the time of the development. I
mean, even if they spent $40,000 on this and they made back $80,000, that's doubling what you put in. So that's not bad at all.
Yeah. And I got to remind you that number that I came up with, I was reading their blog page and stuff. I had to find it on web.archive.org, but I didn't memorize it exactly. So that number kind of came from scattered memories.
No, it's all good, man. Yeah. So the premise of this game is you play as this little princess chick, and you have
with a hot air balloon.
And she has a hot air balloon, which is a cool little touch. That's how she got to the Sky Tower. She rode a hot air balloon.
The aesthetic is pretty cool because the tower floats in the sky. It's a bunch of marbly, castle-y bricks that float in the sky and, connected in a very fantasy way. But then her hot air balloon feels kind of, I don't know if steampunk is even the word, because it's straight up a hot air balloon, you know?
Yeah, but I get the vibe that you're talking about though, because air travel that way is very much like a thing you would see in Final Fantasies, having airships and things like that. So you would associate it with the steampunk. Plus,
yeah, it's a really cool, like, I like the look of things. I like the little sky fantasy setting of it. That is really cool looking. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to play this one, when you showed us a few things.
The tower has some things that I would consider steampunk as well, like the pistons that you move to have to jump on and things like that. So I could see that would be a little vibe to it.
Yeah, kind of a steampunk fantasy type thing. Like you said, Final Fantasy older games tend to have that vibe.
Fair disclosure to everybody, I beat this game in about 45 minutes.
Yeah. By beat, by the way, we mean we finished all 6 levels. There is a crystal collection system, and I think there are 1,000 total crystals to collect in the castle, and we didn't.
No, I collected all the crystals for the first 2 or 3, maybe the first 2 levels, I think. And then after that, like, I think something in level 3, I don't remember what it was annoying the shit out of me. So I was like, all right, let's just get through this.
Yeah, I think that's where I broke off too, is during level 3, I saw an alternate path that I could definitely break a statue through, and I just didn't feel like taking that path because I just saw the hot air balloon and was like, let's go.
Yeah, mine was, I went through this big area where you had to point lasers to light up these crystals that made these platforms appear that you could then get up to where you needed to go to finish the level. And I turned and I looked after I'd gone through all of that, and I'm looking across the way that I just came, and there's another ledge with a statue that I can tell if I go and turn one of those, I can get to. And I was like, I don't feel like doing all that again.
Right.
So I didn't. This game is 6 levels. The first one is very straightforward and easy. You just hit a couple switches, make a couple jumps, and you're pretty much through the level. This game gets better as it progresses. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, because I think fundamentally, it's there's kind of an action RPG combat system to it that completely doesn't really work because it's just too stiff and not really interesting. But the platforming is kind of okay, and the platforming challenges get better as the game goes on.
Yeah. Some of the standout ones, I think it was in the 3rd level where you have to start using lasers and avoiding the lasers going around that will hurt you. That's where it started to get a little more interesting. One of the levels that you don't remember, but I do, was you had to jump on these little platforms. Now, these platforms were 1 square wide. And there was this character, he was like a big hulking looking guy. He had a big mallet and he was hitting a gavel-like structure. And he would hit it, and all of the platforms would either turn or they would move where they were at. And you kind of had to, before you started jumping, kind of sit there and watch it for a minute and see how they were doing their thing. So I just hopped across, like, once I got it down. I died a bunch in that spot because I say died. This game is very forgiving.
It's forgiving with falling. It's not as forgiving with combat.
Well, as far as what I'm talking about, I would get knocked off and just fall, and then it would take me back to where I started, and I'd have to do all the jumps again. So that wasn't so bad.
Yeah, whenever you fall off the tower, your character just whistles and she gets her airship back and she takes it back kind of to the last solid ground you were on in that area. Like, it seems checkpointed, which is nice. I really appreciated that.
Bro, that gavel level's not in this game.
What game?
It just fucking clicked in my head. That's from Croc. That level's in Croc.
I was wondering what the hell you were talking about.
Motherfucker.
This whole time. Okay, great.
Okay, yeah.
We play too many platformers.
That was in Croc. My bad, listeners.
God, no wonder I was like, what, did I just miss a whole segment?
No, the level that gave me the most trouble in this one was definitely the wind level. And
yes, same.
That was because I would jump through there's these big circles that you jump into and then you ride the wave current. But it's not like an automated thing like some of the games are when you jump into that. So like it would go around a curve, and if you didn't make your character like go towards it, it would just shoot you straight and you'd fucking fly off and have to start all the way back at the beginning.
It reminded me of actually some of my less favorite platforming segments from the newer Doom games, where there are certain sections where you just get launched through stuff and you kind of have to adjust in the fly in a way that isn't really normal.
Yeah.
Because midair movement is, especially with that extra propulsion, it feels a little weird.
One other thing that this game does have is giant Indiana Jones boulders.
Yeah.
But you do get to run on top of them, and that's kind of like a way to get around in some of the levels. And some of the puzzles that had to do with lasers and the rocks, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, level 5 in general felt like where the game really started to come together, because there were the laser gates, there were the rolling boulders that were coming after you, there were the rolling boulders you could roll on, there were enemies on the rolling boulders you had to fight, which felt very Mario. You know, you had to knock the guy off of the boulder and then take the boulder and roll it. I liked that a lot.
The little skeleton dudes. I guess we should say real quick that enemies, they're all little skeleton guys of varying strengths.
With a little crystal in them.
Yeah, some of them just come at you and swing their hands. Some of them have swords and shields. Some of them are mages that throw this ice attack at you that can blow me.
Yep, there's one mage in particular that can shoot 3 ices at once, and I don't know why only that one has that power.
Yeah, he was the big... So there's like a normal version of him, and then there's a big version. And usually the big version...
There's only like one instance of the big guy.
Yeah, there's like a big version, and he can... like he's like the level boss, if you want to call it that. And yeah, the guy who's...
But not really, because he's surrounded by minions. It was like just one big end of level... Like, it was like a random Dark Souls encounter and would have otherwise been a really... I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it was a much more intense encounter than what, you know, most of the other combat's really gentle.
Yeah. And then, like, this game starts cooking. Like you said, level 5, it really, like, comes together and things are like... You're like, okay, I'm getting the hang of it. And you go to level 6, and it's the battle with the witch at the top of the tower. Mm-hmm. And I use battle in quotes because it's kind of like a battle. You have to avoid some of her attacks, and then she slams down an ice ponytail. I don't really know what it is. It's just like these big ice things that you run up, and then you can whack her.
Yeah, whatever it was like a curved sword type attack or whatever. But when it hit the ground, it was just a ramp you could run up to basically get your hits in. It's a very platformer game type of boss fight.
Yeah, and there were like a couple other things where like she spawned some crystals that you had to run around the little area and break them before you could do any damage to her, that kind of thing.
While she would spin around firing lasers in every direction that you had to jump rope over. Yeah. And manage regular skeletons. Like, I felt like the levels 5 and 6 came together pretty well.
Yeah, so you finish the fight with her and you're like, all right, I wonder what like the next set of levels is going to be. And then it rolls credits.
Yeah, that wasn't stage 1-6. That was end of game.
Yeah, that was stage 6 of 6. Yeah, that was it. Very short game.
Yeah, especially if you're not playing for completion, if you're not trying to get 100% of the crystals. Like, I'm sure if you go for all the crystals, you could probably get 3 hours of game out of it. If you're playing to get to the hot air balloon in the first 5 levels and defeat the witch, less than an hour.
Yeah, the highest amount of hours that I see scrolling through, not counting that one.
I saw one guy said he had like a 3-hour game out of it, and I'm like, how did you do that?
Yeah, 2.3 hours, 4 hours, 3.1 hours, 3.4 hours. I'm sure
some of those people also were slept in the menu or went back and replayed it.
Now,
went to finish all the crystals.
Here's one from user LongRocky92 on Steam.
Okay.
It's in a different language, so I don't know where he's from.
You can try to sear it, right?
Huh?
You can hit a button to machine translate it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I could if I wanted to, but my main thing is that he has 26.4 hours into this game. And I just want to know how, unless he really likes looking at the girl's panties. Let's see what this guy said. The translation, I know you walked away, but I know you can still hear me, says, the princess's journey to find out the mystery behind the crystals and the strange witch. So, like, that's the anime name. If this was an anime, that would be the name of it. Yeah.
Was that the whole review?
That's the whole review. 26.4
I was expecting
hours.
that to be like the title to a book report on it or something.
I
don't know. I don't see how you could get 26 hours just because I don't think there is 26 hours. I think he fell asleep with the game open. That's got to be it.
Had to have for like two different sessions.
And I'm not bagging on the game in this way. It's just it is very short, and I don't see it being replayable.
I told you it reminded me of a game that like I would find on itch.io or something that people would be like, we made this for our class final or whatever. You know what I mean? It had a very much a new dev
a learning
style.
As you go type. Yeah. That being said, it is clear that they did put, I'm not going to say I don't think that they spent the money that they, charged on Indiegogo to make the game, because I really do like the voice and translation team. I could see where they spent money on it. I wish there would have been better writing for one thing, because they translated and voice acted basically 4 lines over and over again.
Yeah, the writing wasn't super great.
It just felt like it was constantly being like, Princess, witch, I'm coming to vanquish you. Witch, Princess, please go away from here.
I don't want to hurt you.
Yeah, exactly. And then Princess would be like, maybe the witch is good. And then they basically looped variations on that like 7 times.
Yeah. Now, I will say, graphically, it's not impressive, but for an indie game from 2015, it's not bad looking.
It looks nice. I really do like the architecture of the castle. I think that it like the game does have a nice look to it.
Like if you told me this was a port of like a 3DS game,
Vita game or
a
something?
DS game or something, I would totally be like, okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
That's the vibe it gives me. But again,
it has its own style.
It really felt like it started to cook and then ended. I wonder if they ran out of money.
Yeah, maybe because I don't know. It's very strange. Like because they hired voice actors, and I went and looked up the resume. I went to the archived website because the company's the web presence of this company seems to have disappeared about 5 years ago. You found their YouTube page, which last updated in 2019. I went to their actual webpage, which has now been taken over by a Vietnamese squatter. But before then, it was, they have a blog and they have credits for all their games. And there are a couple dozen people credited on this game, but most of them are credited for things like opening BGM or Spanish translation or particle effects. So I think some of those were just contractors that they, just put, paid like a Fiverr type deal to handle a specific project, But the voice actors.
Yeah, I was going to say, you had some interesting info about the voice acting in this game.
Okay, so at first I wasn't sure if so this game came out in like 2019, 2018, something
January
like that, right?
29th, 2015.
2015, okay. So maybe these voice actors were a lot less known at the time, but the people that did the two voices in this game have roles you would have heard of. Like, the voice of, was that the witch? Or, let me make sure I get it right. Afia Yu, and I hope I'm saying that name right, voiced the witch. She is best known as voicing Hat Kid in A Hat in Time.
Nice. I think I have that game.
It has voices in a lot of things you've heard of. She's characters in things like Zenless Zone Zero, Ruby.
Now, by Ruby, do you mean that RWBY?
Yes. That's how I assumed it's pronounced.
That's how I've always assumed it's pronounced too.
Yeah. What I thought you might think was interesting is in the Funimation dub of Higurashi, she voices Rika.
Oh, okay.
So that kind of is a fun little way to bring the show together a little bit.
Interesting. Yeah, that's cool. I wonder how many other voice actors we've had crossover we just didn't know.
I've tried to look into voice acting when characters seemed really familiar, like I did for Cyber Neptunia, for instance. Or Mega Neptunia, I mean. But also, she was a couple voices on Battle Chef Brigade, including Saskia, who I think was kind of a really nice lady.
Yeah, Saskia was one of your family members. I don't remember if it was your mom or your big sister. She was one of the two. But yeah, she was one of the ones that really always encouraged you and stuff when you were back at your house.
It's just interesting. Even these things that I haven't seen myself, I know that I've heard of stuff that FEAU was on. I've heard of My Hero Academia, One Piece, the time I got reincarnated as a slime, Fairy Tail, Black Desert Online, things like that.
Oh, Black Desert.
Yeah, it looks like a couple of monster characters, Bambooling and Dayung from the animation Black Abyss. So apparently there's the Black Abyss dub of the Black Desert Online animation.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I've never seen that, but I know of it.
Yeah. And then the voice actress that played the princess is Kimberly Ann Campbell, who is also all over the place. Probably the main place you know her is... I always heard the show called Please Don't Bully Me Nagatoro, but apparently the official translated title for Crunchyroll is Don't Toy With Me Miss Nagatoro. Anyway, she plays Nagatoro. So, all right. The main title character is also in, again, a bunch of stuff, you've heard of. Dawn in Pokemon Masters. A lot of animation additional voice type things like in Hunter x Hunter, and there was one on here that I really was impressed by, and I can't remember or find it.
Well, while you're looking, I can tell you on Drop Frames again. And late listeners, that's just what I've been listening to a lot lately. They had on Matt Mercer.
Cool.
And he was talking about doing voice acting and stuff, and he said a lot of people will come up to him and be like, I want to get into voice acting. I want to do anime voice acting. And he tells them, don't do anime voice acting unless you can get those along with other jobs. He goes, because anime typically pays the worst and is a lot of work for what you get.
That makes sense.
But
there's a lot of people that want to do it.
Yeah, he was talking about how, and I kind of always assumed this, but hearing it from a voice actor kind of solidified it. where it's really nice when you go into a place and you're either reading with other people or you have somebody like a director who can tell you things and like things that you need. He said that there's other ones that you go in and you're like, all right, so who am I doing today? And they hand you a sheet of paper. You're this character. What's he like? I don't know, dude. Just read it. And
Yeah.
like that, I feel like that would be defeating in a way because it's like, well, how am I supposed to do this properly if I know nothing about,
That's what that mean. Even famous people have had to deal with that. Like that's why Mark Hamill doesn't remember voicing freaking Majima because he just was given a spreadsheet of lines and basically like a tiny bit of direction, but he wasn't even told what parts to emphasize.
Yeah, it's wild shit.
Just a bunch of text and that's it. It's like what you supposed to do with that.
And especially for a game like Yakuza, I feel like it really helps to have the context.
Yeah. So basically that's where I get a lot of the expense went into this game because the game is only completely voice acted in English. So they were clearly going for a style where it was a Chinese company making a game with not just Japanese anime inspired art and all that, but the company calls themselves Animu Game, like they're making fun of kind of like weeaboo type stuff. And the specific presentation is a Western translation of an anime. And I think that is at least an interesting approach, say that, if nothing else,
Yeah. According to Steam, it says that their first game was Forward to the Sky in 2015. Mm-hmm. Their second game was in 2017, and it was called Panty Party. Mm-hmm. And then they did Fantasy Versus in 2018, and that's all they've done. Panty Party is only $1 right now. I might pick that up just to see what the fuck it is.
Believe it or not, I that's another thing that was a weird thing is I'd actually heard of that one before because the Game Grumps have played it. And while I haven't watched their episode on it, I've seen it in their highlights occasionally. And the game actually seems like a kind of a heartfelt, silly comedy type thing.
I'm watching this gameplay on the Steam page, and you play as a pair of panties that shoots.
Yeah.
What?
You're a human, the warrior of love, who, because of their love, is transformed into a pair of panties.
Incredible.
That's as much as I could gather from only seeing highlights of it, mind you. So there might be more to it than that, but based on, what we've seen writing-wise in this game, I wouldn't expect it to be highly deep.
No, and it looks like Fantasy Versus was like an online multiplayer type thing, and it's dead.
That probably is why the company is no more then.
Well, that's a bummer. But
even if you look at the main developer's Twitter, Wei Chen, it looks like at a certain point he went all retweets. So, and that certain point was in like 2018 or earlier.
Went all what tweets?
All retweets, just tweeting development from other channels. So I don't even know if it's a game he worked on or if he's laying low and no longer Animu Game, but working under a different pseudonym and actually working for a company now. But it looks like sometime in 2019, Wei Chen's internet presence completely disappeared as Wei Chen and as Animu Game.
Well, it might be that, these games that he made were a good proof of concept to be like, here, this is what I can help you with. And then maybe they helped him get a job in somewhere else,
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's working for like, I don't know, whatever companies. I'm sure there are game dev studios in Taiwan or wherever he is today. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, do you have a rating that you'd like to give this game, my good sir?
I mean, almost no.
I know, right?
Because basically, again, this game, it's doing its own thing, and I think the thing it's doing is aesthetically kind of interesting. I don't really think that the combat is going to suit the game style at all. Like, it feels like it's the way the fighting works is it punishes you for making mistakes. If you make mistakes in early combat, you have to play it really tight later on, and the combat doesn't integrate into the platforming whatsoever. That it feels like it's basically really free on you for like, and also like it doesn't seem to make sense to have like a hit point based combat system when then you're also not like leveling up. Like it's kind of faking the RPG funk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it seems like it would have probably been happier if it was a jump on the enemy to collect a coin instead of weird little RPG combat thing.
I could see that.
I don't know, man. I feel like if I give it a low score, that's not really fair because I don't think it was aiming to do anything really high. I do also want to point out that they're selling it for $7.99 though, and you could buy a lot of other games for that,
Yeah.
And games that are not just longer games, obviously, but games that are more intensely fun and polished. And I feel like this game kind of it feels like a proof of concept even in the release. Like, even the main menu of the game, there is no credits screen in the game,
Yeah.
And the one time I ran out of hit points, I kind of panicked to hit the escape button, and the game just crashed to desktop. So I don't even know if there's a game over screen.
Yeah, that I don't know. I never died.
I would say show off, but I really doubt that you care about that.
Because
I don't know. The fighting was stiff. You had there was a combo if you clicked with the left mouse button, and there was a combo if you clicked with the right mouse button. There were controller controls, but the dead zone didn't work at all, so I couldn't play it that way.
Yeah, I didn't even try controller after hearing you and Kana both talk about it.
And the game, the platforming worked reasonably well, mouse and keyboard. Like, if you'd ever played a first-person shooter game that had any kind of platforming, it didn't feel too different. So I'm not complaining about the platforming. The puzzle design also seemed like it was just kind of there to slow you down for 5 minutes. Like, I never felt like, oh, that was clever. I felt like, oh, that's where I was supposed to put that piece of the 3 places I could put it.
Yeah, I think the puzzle that took me the longest was the one where you had to aim the lasers.
That's why I asked you if you used a walkthrough, because you beat the game so fast, I was like, if any level after this is more complicated than this, then it's just going to be a slog. But that was the last puzzle level. After that, it was just platforming and punching buttons. Yeah. That was it. It was very strange, very strange. The game kind of lacked focus, but it seemed like they were just kind of enjoying the high of making a game, and I kind of respect and relate to that.
Yeah, I don't fault them for it at all.
So, I mean, I hope that this review doesn't get back to the guy who made it, because I don't want him to think that, I'm dumping on the work, because obviously I respect the work that went into this, and it's very clearly a small passion project. But I'm still going to give it 4.5 crystals out of 10 blocks. And
I think that's fair. I was leaning towards 5.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it 5 swords out of 10 witches. Actually, no. Scratch that, Brian. 5 princesses out of 10 witches.
You got some thematic consistency now.
I think for what it is, it did it okay. I don't think it was trying to be anything that it's not. I do think it's slightly overpriced when not on sale, but the fact that it's 79 cents right now, I can tell you that it's worth 79 cents to sit there and play through.
Yeah. If it goes 79 cents every Steam sale, because you might be listening to this after the Steam sale ends, I think for 79 cents, it's 40 minutes that you won't really like it. There's a nice aesthetic to it. Just don't go in expecting too much. We didn't, and we had a reasonably good time with it.
Yeah, and you can literally sell some Steam trading cards and make enough money to buy this game on sale. Like, it's not a lot of money at all. I don't know. It's short. It's sweet. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's very mid, but I think that's what it was going for. Again, I don't think this guy made this game thinking that this was going to wow audiences. This was probably like
if you took a shot glass and filled it halfway up with vanilla ice cream, that's what you're getting here.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a good way to say it. Well, with that, my good sir, we have a few questions, and then we can...
Yeah, we didn't really do listener questions last week, so I don't know if we're going to cover any of those or how you're planning to do this, but I'm game. I'm here.
Yeah,
how are you?
There was only a handful, so we'll run through them. This one, I know we talked about this a lot last week, but we can cover it really quickly. Jeff wants to know, which multiplayer game did you enjoy playing the most for the show?
I think for me, it still has to be Terraria, just because of the fact that we all approached it in very different ways, but we had fun vibing together.
I think mine's Phasmophobia, with a close second being Red Dead.
Oh, Red Dead's also... Because Red Dead, we just screwed around, man. That game, we accomplished some stuff, but man, we were knuckleheads in that game.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun messing around with the boys in the Wild West. So that and Phasmophobia are probably mine.
Yeah.
What do you say to someone... This also comes in from Jeff. What do you say to someone who refuses to play a game despite the host of a podcast asking for a friend?
Depends on the game.
Well, I can tell you exactly what he's talking about. He doesn't play Yakuza despite us.
That seems lame.
I would say to you, my good sir,
play whatever game you want. You don't listen to us.
Don't
listen to us, but don't not listen to us.
Dumb life decision, Jeff. That's all I'm going to say. Tell your friend that you're asking for. He's making dumb life decisions.
I was like, man, I'm not going to eat pizza because everyone told me pizza was good.
So, next question comes in from Kana. And Kana wants to know, Just Monica. Fenris would like to know, what is an indie RPG, which I'm going to call a role-playing jam? What is an indie RPG that you are interested in playing?
Depends on what the definition of indie is, because, like, does Claroscura count? Because everyone is playing Claroscura right now, but I want to play that.
I mean, I do believe that is technically an indie game.
I don't know who published it. I'll look it up. Claroscura publisher. Yeah, I've never heard of Kepler Interactive. It's a British publisher. It can't be AAA. I'm going to call it indie.
I have 2 answers for this. The first one being Sea of Stars.
Man, I want to play Sea of Stars, but everyone keeps saying it's mid, and it's breaking my heart because I want it to be really good.
That's one. The other one is one that Nate got me that I've dabbled in, but I haven't sank time into it. But Ewan Chronicle, 100 Heroes.
It's a spiritual successor to like Suikoden, right?
Yep. Suikoden. Yep. And it's pretty freaking sweet. Its animation style is really cool. I just haven't dedicated the time I need to it.
Man, I know it's not indie because it's Square Enix, it's the opposite, but you saying sweet animation style makes me want to get back into Octopath.
Hell yeah. It's a good game.
But if I'm playing a sort of 2D, sort of 3D RPG in the near future, we know what that's got to be. I got to get my catch up on.
Yes, sir. The next question comes in from Kana. What games do you absolutely refuse to do an episode on, even for TSMP After Dark?
I mean, it's a subject matter related thing for me. I don't think I'm going to name any specific games, but it's either if the game was just kind of boring and doesn't justify itself outside of shock value or like being, sexy or whatever. Like, I don't know why we would play House Party for the game, because it seems like you've stretched kind of like basically a bunch of sex scenes across kind of a comedy script, maybe. I don't know. Seems like I don't see the point of it.
The thing with a lot of those games, though, especially like games like House Party that are in that kind of engine, a good handful of them have really fucking good stories, but it's a visual novel with porn in it too. So you kind of got to be the type of person that doesn't mind that in order to get the most out of the stories and stuff. Like I told you, I was playing that one called Eternum or Eternium or something like that. And story is fantastic. It's got the sex scenes in it and everything, but like, it's not one of those, like, I don't know. When I'm playing a video game, no matter how sexy the chick is, like, I never get the urge to, like, whip my dick out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, porn games are cool and all that, but, like, if they don't hold me for one reason or another, like Honey Pop, Mirror, those types of games, they're just fun to play because they're like matching games where every now and then you get to see titties.
Yeah, and I understand that some of those, like, Japanese light novels that started off as Arrow games, like, that they had compelling enough characters that they transformed them into mainstream media later on.
Yeah.
Like, that happens a lot over there. So I'm not saying that, a game being erotic is a disqualifier. I'm saying that a game being, like, only that or with that as a, fine excuse for everything else,
Fair enough. My answer for this question, Kana, I don't think I have one yet. I don't think I've run into a game where I'm like, well, I take that back. You know what? I absolutely refuse to play Rape Simulator.
Yeah, I can see that.
So there's one. Any game where like the object is to sexually assault somebody, I'm not interested in. But porn games, violent games, games that are taboo for one reason or another, like hatred, like I would like to cover them strictly for the cultural, not impact, but just the effect and like why they were made, what possessed them to make that game, that kind of thing.
And see, I'm kind of on the fence with something like hatred, where I would have to make sure I had something to say about it before I wanted to be on that,
Yeah.
And also, we talked about this during the Patreon, but also if it's just like the game would make me feel too bad to play it, and that doesn't necessarily even mean it's like immoral. It could just mean that it's way too much of a bummer. Like, I'm kind of glad I wasn't there for Plague Tale, and that wasn't me picking my steps on that one. I just wasn't there for that one. But man, that one sounded like a bummer.
It was a bummer, but what a good story. I just didn't enjoy playing the game.
Yeah.
Story was really good, though. Like, if that was a show, it would be a really good show. And then our final question comes in from Adam, and this is, I think, more of a question for me. He says, should have brought it up for the anniversary episode, but what is the origin of the sausage?
I can handle this one. So I was in Barbados straightening a picture frame when... I'm just kidding. You go ahead.
So, for listeners who do not know, and you're not in the Discord, first of all, what are you doing? bit.ly/TSMP Discord, come join. We have a channel called Saustrich. And the only thing that gets posted in there is an emote of a saustrich. And what is a saustrich? That is the question. That is a good question that I do not really have an answer to. What I can tell you is I came across a meme one day that was a picture of an ostrich, but instead of a normal neck and head, it was a sausage with a beak and the ostrich body, and it just said saustrich. And that just tickled my butthole in a way that I cannot explain. And I immediately saved the photo, put it in GIMP, cut it out, made it an emote, and put it in the Discord. And then playing off of a channel in the Tadbug Discord, which is for honk memes only, I was like, I don't want this to get spammed in all the other chats, so I'm going to make its own little home. And now we just have the Saustrich channel, which someone will go in and post one Saustrich, and the next person will post two, and the next person will post three. And then it goes up, and then someone posts less, and then it just kind of goes like a wave. And then Polsh comes in and completely ruins whatever's going on and then giggles about it. That is the origin of the ostrich. It's nothing super fancy or anything. If you want a better story, I killed a man to watch him die, and then I carved him into an ostrich, and that's what he looked like. And I took a picture of it, cut it out, and made it into an emote for the Discord because I'm a psychopath.
I like turtles.
But much like Jeff said,
I had nothing to say to that.
Much like Jeff said, it's kind of like the origin of his balls. The world may never know. Oh, man. Willie, you got anything that you would like to plug, my good sir, before I go through the house cleaning shenanigan?
Yeah. I would like to plug Landsat Island. It is a small island, smaller than a quarter of a football field, off of the coast of Canada. It was discovered by satellite vision. It was one of the first places to not be discovered by a human explorer, but rather by the satellite Landsat 1, hence the name. After a while, Canadian explorer decided to go down to the island, so they lowered him down from a helicopter. A polar bear took a big swipe at him, they pulled him back up, and no one has ever actually been to Landsat Island.
That's fantastic.
That is So shout out to Landsat Island, man. You're doing your thing.
Right.
You were invisible, and the one time we tried to viz you, a polar bear attacked us.
That bear had one job.
You were what Lost Wishes it was.
Yeah, that bear had one job, and it succeeded.
Yep.
That bear saw them coming and went, oh, hell no. My cousin Grizzlies told me about these motherfuckers. Tremendous. I mean, I remember reading one time, or it might have been in a documentary, if you see a black bear, try to make yourself look big. If you see a grizzly bear, try to make yourself look small and dead. If you see a polar bear, it's too late. Like, if a polar bear sees you, you have little to no chance of survival, and that is fucking terrifying, bro.
I mean, offering a Coca-Cola is probably your best bet, because it's no worse than anything else you'll do.
I mean, you can try to offer it a Coke while it's, chomping at your head.
Maybe it'll hurt its teeth on the glass.
Maybe so. All right, man. If you would be so kindly as to go leave us a review over on iTunes and Spotify, that would be rad. It really helps us out in the algorithm. Give us a 5-star. If you leave words with your 5-star iTunes review, it gets read on the episode. We just haven't had one of those in about 2 years. So let's change that, ladies and gentlemen. Over wherever you get your podcasts, check us out. If you want to join the Discord, like I plugged earlier, it really is the place that you can contact us the easiest. bit.ly/TSMP Discord. That's TSMP DISCORD, all capital letters. Come join, chat with us. We got a good community that we've built over the last 5 years. I love everybody in there. Everyone's super cool. Check out the website, kept up to date by Dane. That is bit.ly/The Steam Machine Podcast. Just capitalize that phonetically and you'll be good to go. If you'd like to donate to the show and help me keep my lights on, which I love you very, very, very much for, patreon.com/The Steam Machine Podcast. Money goes towards, bills and things like that, but it also goes towards the show. When, one of us wants a game for the show, we can use some of that money to help make that happen.
Yep, so we've used that pretty recently, in fact.
Yeah,
so
yes, we
that's
have.
really awesome of you.
$1 or more a month gets you the episodes early, ad-free, and you get the Patreon banter in the beginning that's just for the Patreon listeners. And $10 or more a month gets you all of that, plus your name read on each and every episode, like these wonderful people. Nate Sir Cogsworth, the 7th of Juniper, Jeff the Original Expendable, Mr. Syllables, Old Jeffy Lube, also he's a duck, Areser Adam, shout out to his podcast Spectre Approved, Team Retro, go check him out over on YouTube, Mr. Puzzles, Dane himself, Chad, the Mad Lad, no goddamn C in his last name, Schaefer. Honestly, he's not a patron anymore, but I love saying that so much that I keep him in there. Flying Brian, Doran Gray, and the RPG Wolverine, Logan Jareed. I love you all very, very much. And Chad, I'm not a hater. I know you still listen and everything. Times are tough, my good sir, but goddamn do I love the nickname that I gave you. All because that one time he was like, there's no last name, there's no C in my last name, Dalton, damn it. I was like, all right, well, I'll take care of that, sir. Other than that, man, check out my music, nowthenightmare.bandcamp.com. You're going to get a shirt, tsmpproductions.threadless.com. Shout out to JRPG Report. Shout out to Grumpy Jeff's Pro Wrestling Power Hour. That will be back soon. Anything else, my good sir?
If the elastic comes out of your sweatpants, you can take an ink pen and put the end of the elastic band, like the elastic string, into the cap of the pen and then close the pen and then thread the pen through your pants and replace the band that way. I learned that today.
It's a good tip to know. And with that tip, ladies and gentlemen, we will pull our tips out and tell you that we will be back to put them in 2 weeks to talk about Yakuza 6, The Song of Life.
Song of Life.
And I'm going to try to rope in the other Destructo Bro to join us. We'll see how that goes, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll be back in 2 weeks to talk to you about some Yakuza. Until then, take it easy.